barbell deadlift, one of the greatest exercises of all. Now, before we get stuck into this exercise, if your gym doesn't have weight plates that are the full length and diameter, like these ones, you'll know because they're going to be nice and wide, and they're usually made out of some sort of rubber coated weight. Then in that situation, you can increase the elevation of the weight so that it's at about mid-shin or just below mid-shin when performing the exercise. Some gyms unfortunately have weights that scale based on how heavy it is. So for example, a 20 kilo weight would be the same diameter as this, but a 5 kilo weight plate would be maybe half the diameter of this, which doesn't really work in a situation where we're trying to learn this movement and perform it effectively. Because if we're using a smaller diameter weight plate, it's going to make the movement a lot harder. Now, assuming everything's set up, you're good to go. You've got standard weight plates like these. Otherwise you don't, you've just put it on an elevation so that it's going to be sufficient. First things first, you're going to come nice and close to the bar, almost to the point where it's in contact with your shins. This is just in the standing setup position. Feet are going to be hip width or slightly wider if you need to be. You're then going to bend the knees, shoulders back. You're going to come down as if almost you're trying to sit down onto a chair, grabbing the weight with your hands. Hands are going to be outside of your legs. Shoulders go back. Take a breath in, create tension, and lift. Same thing on the way down. Slight bend the knees, hips go back, still maintaining tension. Again. Now, breaking it down, a few things to keep in mind. One, the weight should be on your midfoot. It shouldn't be on the heels or the toes. It should be right on the midfoot. So if you feel yourself falling forward or falling back, you're potentially not balanced. Pull the bar into the body and feel yourself on your midfoot. Second, you really want to make sure that you're keeping the bar close to the body. The further away the load is, the more strain we're going to create on our back. Not necessarily a bad thing, but over time it's going to be inefficient, and if there is an underlying issue, that'll make it worse. So it's always remaining in contact with the body. Try and imagine if someone was trying to pull it away from you and you were fighting that urge and keeping it close. Third, arms always stay straight. They never bend. Your arms aren't doing any of the work in this movement other than holding onto the bar. Fourth and lastly, make sure you create tension when you lift. If you go back and re-watch me do those reps, it's silent when I lift. So I'm going to give you another demonstration so you can see that. Now this is incorrect. See how I use momentum? I just ripped off the floor and it made that clang noise. That means you aren't taking the slack out of the bar. That means you're not creating tension as you lift. So that's something to keep in mind. If you perform the exercise correctly, it's full body, so you're going to feel it throughout your thighs, hamstrings, glutes, core, even a little bit through here as you're holding in an isometric hold position. And you really want to make sure you're keeping your abs tight. Other than that, if you're feeling a potential straining sensation in your lower back, try reducing the weight and just focusing on technique, and really to think about your posture when performing this exercise and maintaining core engagement. Some things to avoid. Potentially when you get to the top, oftentimes people will start to bend the arms and do this. Again, focus, arms straight, and oftentimes people will finish with the hips through like this. We want to be in a neutral position all the time, balanced. Again, balance on our midfoot, nice and tight. When it comes to breathing, you're going to breathe at the bottom, brace, hold your breath, lift. Once you've completed it, breathe out, brace again, and then go back down. It is a complex movement, but if you just try to think and focus on the movement itself and not necessarily what muscles you're trying to activate, you'll pick it up a lot easier. Focus on the sensation of the exercise, focus on creating tension throughout your entire body, and everything else will fall into place. And don't hesitate to record yourself performing the exercise so that you can then compare it to the video and then have something to reference. Come on.